for the First Focus Radical Cup Australia. Cameron Van den Dungen and Thomas Randall. Thomas, I know you were looking at the cars in the marshalling area early. I think it will stay dry for this race, though.
I think so, yep. Good morning, Mr. Cameron Van den Dungen. There was a slight bit of rain between the finishing of the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge and the First Focus Radical Cup Australia race. And like you touched on in the marshalling area, we saw cars wondering what to do, but they're all going to stay on the slick tyres. And here's a bit of a race one highlight from yesterday. Cooper Cutts, we thought that he was going to hold on to the lead there with a great start, and then all of a sudden Peter Paddon fired it down the inside at turn number 1, and from that point forward he didn't really look back. This was Bryce Moore having a big moment off turn number 5. Wasn't too costly at that point. Terry Knowles in a bit of battles there with Champion getting right in the thick of it, and there was plenty of action up and down the field.
It certainly was, and there was a big move put on later in the race by Bryce Moore. It was critical in their run for a round win here, but Peter Paddon came under all sorts of pressure from Cooper Cutts late in that race. And then there was a moment here at turn number 3 where Cooper Cutts sent it up the inside, had a half spin, and Peter Paddon raced off into the distance. Now, whilst he took the checkered flag first, and we spoke to him in pit lane, later he was disqualified as we saw Cooper Cutts throwing it off with all the rain that was flying. In fact, he wasn't the only driver that did that. Zig Fuhrmeister did as well. But the number 1 of Peter Paddon, even though he claimed the race win, was later disqualified for a ride height infringement.
Yeah, unfortunately, technical infringements are black and white generally. And yeah, if you're below that minimum ride height, that can be seen as a potential, there are rules for all motorsport categories, and technical infringements aren't normally taken lightly, and that's been a huge blow for Peter Paddon and his championship chase on Cooper Cutts, because he got that race 1 win, and on the last lap when we started to have some heavy rain falling, that cost Cooper Cutts a few positions. He was running in second, and he ended up finishing 4th after having an off, which we believe was out of turn 5 to the run down to turn 6, and we thought, okay, well, the championship battle was down to 2 points between Cooper Cutts and Peter Paddon, and now Peter's lost a lot of points. I think over 50 or 60 points to Cooper Cutts. So
he's lost 51 just this round now as a result of yesterday. Because remember, Cooper Cutts got the 2 extra points for pole position across both races. Peter Paddon losing all those points means it's a 51-point swing, and he came in 17 points behind. So he's a long way back now. But the other end of the tail of the tape, I guess you'd say, is Chris Reindler, who will be starting at a position number 3. He shares that car with Bryce Moore. So watch for Chris Reindler. He and Bryce Moore are currently leading this round. 60 points so far for those two drivers. They're 3rd in the title chase, and they'll be hoping to make more hay while the sun shines.
Now, the way this grid is set is based off your 2nd fastest lap in qualifying, and this is the grid now. We've got Cooper Cutts alongside Peter Paddon. So thankfully for Peter, it's not a continuation from where you are classified from the previous race. So reset of the grid, pretty much a slant, copy paste from yesterday's starting grid. Then we've got Chris Reindler in 3rd, taking over from Bryce Moore, Zig Fuhrmeister, Bradley Russell, Terry Knowles, Mark Cirillo, Stephen Champion, Bill Medlin, Peter Clare, Ibi Hadid, and Hughes and Jim Fernandez rounding out the field.
So cars now starting to get themselves into the race start positioning. So you'll see Cooper Cutts. He's got the number 16, the white entry on screen. He'll be starting from pole position. He got the better of the jump yesterday, but as we saw in the highlights, it was Peter Paddon who committed harder down into turn 1 and led from that point onwards.
And he'll be looking at there's a little bit of confusion there to who was going to be in position number 4.
So Zig Fuhrmeister had to make his way back through. Terry Knowles seemed to be out of position. So now cars setting up. We're in the hands of the starter. They are side by side on this rolling start. Clock is ticking down. We'll wait for the red light to go out. Some smoke in the background. Maybe a lock-up, someone getting caught out, I'd imagine, further back down the order. Lights are out, and we are racing in the 2nd race of the First Focus Radical Cup Australia. Peter Paddon goes to the inside again, but it looks like Cooper Cutts might hold on. A little bit of contact down into turn 1, and Peter Paddon's through, but there's a spinner in the background, and that's the 18 of Russell.
Yeah, I think that will look like once again Paddon copy-paste that move on Cooper Cuts, and I would say if he can't get that out of there, that we will be going under the control of the safety car. But another very decisive, bold, committed overtake there into turn number 1. That one really caught Cooper Cuts off guard, and Peter Paddon knew he had to do that. There's the shot of the number 18 stuck in the gravel, and
Fuhrmeister now putting a move on Chris Reindler, but the safety car comes out at just the right time. And so Chris Reindler, who looked like he was about to lose a position there.
I thought Cooper Cuts would have maybe covered a little bit harder there into turn 1 because of what happened yesterday. Peter Paddon, I think, was always going to go for that move down to turn number 1, knowing what happened yesterday with the disqualification. And here is that move. So Cooper Cuts moves to the outside, and it's a rinse and repeat of what happened yesterday. So I don't know what happened maybe just in front of that, but it's caught the number 18 of Russell out. Thankfully, no one else involved in that, and unfortunately he's beached.
Knowles was the car that was closest, but it might have just been a spin on his own, unfortunately there for Russell.
Well, what would have probably happened, because Peter Paddon did that dive bomb on Cooper, because it's caught Cooper out, here we've got a good shot here. It's contact, there you go. You called it, between Terry Knowles and Russell. So that's left Russell out in the gravel, and I'm sure race control will be having a look at that, but he'll get back underway, albeit a lap down. So it should be a pretty quick recovery here. The Ford Raptor recovery vehicle doing a great job getting that car out of the gravel trap. And Peter Paddon, well, now he's got all the work to do on the restart, doesn't he?
The Tom Randall endorsed recovery vehicle. That's your daily drive, isn't it?
It is, it is.
So Peter
They've
Paddon
just slapped some stickers on it, I think. Better make sure my car's at home when I get back to Melbourne.
Although you and I are in a very different hire car this afternoon. Peter Paddon leads this one. Cooper Cuts in second. Chris Reindler in third. Zig Fuhrmeister fourth. Terry Knowles, with question mark over him with that incident down at turn 1 in fifth. Alan Claire Hadid back to eighth, and that's the 18 of Russell back out on track. So great job by our Motorsport Australia volunteer officials, particularly the recovery crew. Just a bit of dirt on the tyres, and now plenty on the track as well.
Yeah, a lot of rocks getting thrown down there, so Peter Paddon's going to have to be careful of that going into turn number 2 on this restart, which I'd say won't be too far away. It'll probably be either this lap or next lap, but yeah, that was a ripping start from Peter Paddon, and in the back of his mind, well, he has to beat Cooper Cuts if he wants to make any inroads, especially now when that swing, he went from 17 points behind in the championship to potentially only 2 points behind. So really, it's actually a bigger swing when you think about it. It's more than 50 points. It's like a 65-point swing because he gained on Cooper Cuts. So that's really costly for him. And the only way he's going to make that back is to just try and beat him on track.
And that's what he's doing at the moment, is Peter Paddon. So right behind the safety car at the moment. We will go round for one more lap behind the safety car just while we get this track condition back in working order. And just having a review from our officials. So there'll be conversations going on between course car, safety car, sector marshal down at turn 1 and our Motorsport Australia race control.
So these guys, this is their second race, which is a 25-minute race, and then the final race this afternoon will be double this length. It'll be 50 minutes. So
the Enduro. With the two driver entries, which is Chris Reindler and Bryce Moore, will share that car, and Cirillo and Dave Allen. So Dave Allen at the wheel in 6th at the moment. He shares that car with Mark Cirillo, and they will both be in the car later today.
And yesterday, Cirillo finished second, courtesy of, well, keeping an A on the track and Peter Paddon's penalty in the end. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race this afternoon with those two sharing the duties behind the wheel of that car.
It was interesting. I caught up with Chris Reindler very briefly yesterday. He was behind the Arise Racing GT garage because they're part of the Arise Racing program. A good boy from the West is Chris Reindler. And he was saying to me yesterday, they're pretty proud of their efforts so far in an older spec car of the Radicals out there. So they are doing a good job. Currently in 3rd is Chris Reindler. And as it stands right now, he and his co-driver in Bryce Moore would still be leading for the round as the lights go out on the safety car and we get set for a restart here with race number 2 of the first Focus Radical Cup Australia at Queensland Raceway. So we are now in the hands of your race leader, Peter Paddon, as the safety car makes its way back into pit lane. So we'll get set for a restart next time around. Critically important to get yourself into a position and not miss the jump, because we are in the hands of the number 1 car as we exit turn 6 and get ready to go green again. And he stood on the loud pedal, and they're off and racing with the green flag now, making sure that no one overlaps before the start-finish line. And they head down to turn number 1. Tyres a bit cooler and a bit of a moment there, but all okay through turn number 1. Peter Paddon from Cooper Cuts and Chris Reindler.
I think that was Peter Clare there using a bit of the pit exit, trying to maximise the entry, as that's Reindler out super wide, just understeering through the second part of turn 2, and that's going to give potentially an opportunity to Zig Fuhrmeister, or have a look down the inside potentially at turn number 3, but excellent restart for Peter Paddon. And he's after a little bit of redemption today, and that is, I think that's Claire and Hadid going at it there at turn number 3 on the restart. Bit colder tyres. They haven't actually completed a racing lap yet, so this will be the first tour that they would have done all under full steam. And that's a big lunge there, and that is
Allen.
Absolutely fantastic pass. However, it's the switchback. So great exchange there between those two, Allen and Claire, and it's status quo as it was before turn 4. But great attempt. Just
here comes Hadid though. Hadid ranging up onto the back of the Allen car as he's dropped away from Claire. So this is duking it out over 6th place at the moment. Paddon, Cuts, Reindler, Fuhrmeister, then Knowles, Claire, Allen, and Hadid.
Yeah, so Paddon and Cuts, that half a second between those two. You can see the gap between them on the coverage. Live coverage here, all brought to you by 7. Oh no, we've got the 34. That's Champion beached at turn 1. Now, has there been contact there, or has he just lost it on his own?
So Stephen Champion, he is now looking like he's buried down there at turn number 1, and that unfortunately may well bring out another safety car. We'll let you know. It hasn't been called just yet, but the 34 is definitely bogged as we see Cooper Cuts now getting ever closer to the back of Peter Paddon in the battle for the lead. 12 minutes, 30 seconds, and 1 lap remaining as we now go safety car. In the meantime, though, race 2, First Focus Radical Cup Australia. It's Paddon from Cuts, Reindler from Fuhrmeister, Knowles, Claire, Allen, and Hadid, with Hernandez now inside the top 9. Time to take a quick break as we go safety car again. So we get this one back under control, and the tyre temperature and the tyre pressures will start to drop again as we see another one, which looks like Russell back into the pit lane again. So Champion stuck down at turn 1. Russell is in the pit lane, which means we really only have 11 runners out on track waiting for Sue Hughes. Yes, she has just come through as well. So 11 of our 13 runners now out on track, and that is the 18 of Russell, and that car looks like the fire is out.
Yeah, I think they're done this one. There's a couple of the crew from Arise Racing going to inspect what has happened there. Obviously, you had that off earlier in the race, but yeah, I'm seeing that that's the general signal when the hand goes up under the neck like that. Means shut her off, and he's climbing out of the car, so that's a real shame for them. They will still got one more race, the 50-minute enduro to come, so I'm sure they'll get that thing back out as the Ford Raptor recovery vehicle doing the job once again. And I reckon that recovery vehicle might need a little top-up of some fuel, and maybe the BMW M safety car as well, because we've seen a lot of action from those two vehicles so far this weekend.
Oh, I reckon you could get 3 or 4 more Ford Raptor references in this race as well there, Thomas. Doing well by the brand, mate. Good to see.
There's a bit of damage on the underneath the 34. Is that the floor? Some damage there on the left-hand side, just underneath where the number is on the side of the car. So it might be a case of bringing that thing back to pit lane, potentially. And they're now, yeah, a lap down, unfortunately.
Speaking of cars, we talked about your daily driver. Here's our rental car as well. We've got the BMW M safety car out on track, and that is we'll be getting to the airport later this evening under safety car at the moment. Now, Thomas, for those watching on 7 Sport that are new to the sport, this does add a level of complexity, and why the cars are weaving right now is because of the the tyre pressure loss and the heat loss as we see the 34 back out on track. So how do you actually, we'll come back from this break in just a second as we see this car make its way back. It needs to get back into pit lane before we'll be able to go green. So race control will be talking to the safety car driver and making sure they control the speed of that car. But we should be back green in about one more lap from now. So Paddon, Cutts, Reindler, Fuhrmeister, Knowles, Clare, Allen and Hadid are your top 8. Safety car still out on track, but we are not far away from a restart here as part of race 2 for the First Focus Radical Cup Australia at Queensland Raceway. It's been an interesting run so far, certainly a proppy run so far. 2 safety car interventions, the BMW M safety car out on track, and will be back in the hands of Peter Paddon very shortly. Peter Paddon needing to get the race win to keep his title aspirations alive.
Indeed, and I guess the gap in points for a race win and second is only 6 points. So he's going to need to win a few races here or hope that Cooper can lose a few positions.
We are not far away from going green again. Before we do, though, let's check in the pit lane with Charlie Barlow.
Brad Russell, we saw you pop into pit lane. Obviously, you're out of the car. Talk us through what's happened.
Yeah, the car was running fine. I did have a spin in turn 1. I'm not sure if that was self-induced. We'll wait and have a look at the video. But, you know, the car was going fine. Lost a bit of the diffuser in that spin. And then going to turn 6, it felt like there was a lot of gravel and there was no gravel. So maybe the gearbox, we're not sure yet.
So you're back out this afternoon or you've got to assess it yet?
Well, I hope so. I hope they can get the car. Hopefully it's not too serious. We'll wait and see. Yeah, love to be back out. Had a good run into turn 1 and it's just unfortunate.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Well done, Charlie. Hearing from Mr. Russell, who has stopped in pit lane out of the car. We still have 12 runners out on track. Lights out on the safety car. We're now in the hands of Peter Paddon, your race leader. We're about to go green again. The challenge for a few of these drivers on the last restart was just getting caught out on cold tyres with lower pressures. Chris Reindler was one of those drivers, ran wide as he exited turn 2 on that first lap after the restart. Much closer under the rear wing is Cooper Cutts on Peter Paddon. We're green on track, and now we're in the hands of Peter Paddon. We wait for him to stand on the accelerator. He's not gone yet. Now he goes.
Not yet, hasn't gone yet.
I was listening outside to the revs, and he's caught them all out. He's waited right to the line as Peter Paddon, and now he's away. He's propped them right up. Down into turn 1 he goes. Cooper Cutts follows. That's much better for Chris Reindler. He's got a bit of breathing space from Zig Fuhrmeister, and Terry Knowles behind him.
So a slightly different approach there on the restart for Paddon. He went a bit earlier on the last one, but maybe he thought if I just leave it a little bit later, it'll stop any sort of threat from Cooper Cutts. And here is Reindler and Fuhrmeister side by side into turn number 3. Can Fuhrmeister go all the way around the outside? The two leaving each other plenty of racing room. And what this does, if he can stay there on the left-hand side, he'll then have the inside for turn 4. And look who's lurking in the background, Cameron, Mr. Terry Knowles.
So this will be the hard spot for Chris Reindler to hang to the outside. It goes to the advantage now of Zig Fuhrmeister. That should be done as they exit turn 3 and 4, sorry. And we make our way back up towards the final couple of corners as Knowles is tucked in now behind Chris Reindler, who's found himself going from 3rd to nearly 5th very quickly.
Didn't have a look there, did Terry Knowles, so he's still in behind Chris Reindler, and that was a nice overtake from Zig Fuhrmeister. The way that this track layout is, Cameron, normally if you want to get a move done at turn 4, you have to start the move at turn 3, and it's really dependent on if your other rival leaves you a bit of racing room. So he managed to break really late on the outside, which is the conventional line, and then hold it around the outside. So that's how he's managed to get that move done.
All right, we're about to get to the final 5 minutes of this race. Stick around on 7 Sport because this one's going to light up at the back end. Paddon, Cutts, Fuhrmeister, Reindler. The battle's really here between Paddon and Cutts. Remember how strong Cooper Cutts comes on at the back end of the race. So Paddon always goes early, and Cooper comes late, and he's doing it again.
It's almost a carbon copy of yesterday's race, isn't it, Cameron? He's got so much confidence, does Cooper, under brakes. And whether it is just a tyre pressure difference or whether or not Paddon maybe just used up a little bit too much rubber, but we haven't actually seen a lot of green flag running in this race. So they've only really done about 5 or 4 laps of actual green flag running, but the gap now down to under 0.4 of a second.
So heading down to turn 1 again, and it looks like a little bit of breathing room now for Chris Reindler. He's lost the rear of Zig Fuhrmeister as the battle raging further back between Hadid and Jim Hernandez. It continues on through turn 2. The 23 of Hernandez through now on Hadid.
Nice little exchange there, and he's trying to get in behind him in the toe as there's further battles further back as well. I think that's Medland, and is that... Oh, that's Ibi Hadid, yeah, covering into turn 4. So that, turn 3, sorry. So that's Champion, and I think that is Sue Hughes there going at it. Well, Champion's actually a lap down, so he's just trying to make back some time. And this is your battle for the race lead, Paddon and Cuts.
Oh, this one's shaping up nicely, isn't it? 3/10 to gap. We're winding down the clock. 4 minutes and 1 lap. And Cooper Cuts coming again. Will it be a repeat of yesterday? Wasn't able to get the move done, but he tucks in. What has he learnt?
He's flashing the headlights. You just saw that in the background. Now, if you're Cooper Cuts, Cameron, what would you be thinking at this point with just under 4 minutes to go?
Well, you'll know that you couldn't get the move done yesterday. You don't want that to happen again because that could compromise your race. So really, it's where do I get the move done?
So strong off there. Sorry.
This will be one of their spots. Don't worry, Thomas Randall. We'll get there very shortly because right now, Cooper Cuts is looking very racy. I'm not sure he's going to get it done here, but I'm expecting the next lap. Peter Paddon closes the door. And now, we see where they go, down at turn 4. And just as we predicted, the race is heating up at the right time. 3 minutes and 1 lap remaining. And this is the battle for the lead of the race. Just like we saw yesterday on 7 Sport. Peter Paddon leading from Cooper Cuts. And Cooper Cuts showing so much pace. Thomas Randall, you'd rather be the hunter in this situation. The car just looks much stronger at the back end of the race.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one thing catching, passing is another. And yesterday, Peter was able to hold off Cooper, even though they had that slight bit of contact. But Cooper is just so strong off turn 2 here. He fires it in a bit harder this time, does Cooper Cuts, and whether or not that's cost him a little bit on the exit, probably didn't quite get as good of a run as he would have liked, and probably he's just too far back this lap. So Peter Paddon won't have to cover into turn 3, which means he'll be able to still do that optimal line and get the exit. And the gap, yeah, still under about 0.4 of a second between the two. 2 minutes remaining, so we'll probably get 2 or maybe 3 more laps here, barring we stay green.
So where's the best spot? He's tried turn 3 yesterday. Turn 3 looks like the best opportunity so far in this race. Where else, though, can you see Cooper Cuts getting the run on Paddon?
No, I think it's turn 3. It's got to be turn 3 for Cooper Cuts. We've seen how strong he can be off turn 2. Probably just realised on that lap when he fired it in a little bit too hot at turn 2 that he lost the momentum. So he's nearly got to sit back a little bit on the way into turn 2, Cameron, and go better, like carry more exit speed. And whether or not he goes to the outside of turn 3 sets him up for turn 4. But the move has got to be started at least at turn 3, I think, because we're seeing how strong he is under brakes. That is Cooper Cuts, and they've really just checked out to 3rd place. 3rd is about 6 seconds behind.
Look at Peter Paddon, purple first sector, because he knew he was a wake up to it. The threat was always going to come at turn 3, and he's turned up the wick with 1 minute and 1 lap remaining in this one. Yeah, for those young racers watching on 7 Sport, you've got a bit of free driver coaching there from Thomas Randall, who by day is a race car driver, by night does a lot of driver coaching and sim work as well. So sharing that expertise with you here on the coverage of the Shannon Speed Series. And look who's responded to the gauntlet that was thrown down by Peter Paddon. It's Cooper Cuts now, fastest of all through to the middle sector.
Yeah, Peter Paddon's just got to make no mistakes here. It'll be this lap, and I would say 1 more with 20 seconds left on the clock. And there's an old saying Cam, and that is don't look back, otherwise you'll get a sore neck. So eyes forward here for Peter Paddon. Really needs to focus on getting a strong exit off turn 2, because I think the threat will be turn 3, and that's a really nice exit there for Cooper Cutts off turn number 2. He's in the slipstream. This is probably as close as he has been. Is he too far back? He's going for a move down the inside, and there's slight contact there, bit of hip and shoulder, and he has gotten through on Peter Paddon there.
That is a massive move. He sent it, he committed. There was contact between the two, and he's going to send it again. Peter Paddon, this is getting very aggressive. He's able to hold on to the position, though, is Cooper Cutts. Big, bold move at turn 3. And we've still got 1 lap remaining.
We do. That couldn't have come at a better time for Cooper Cutts. A little bit of hip and shoulder, a little bit of contact, but yeah, Cutts so strong under brakes, and there's Paddon trying to make up some ground, loose in the rear, trying to carry a little bit too much entry speed. But yeah, Cooper Cutts, great move, kept it under control. No inside front lockups there, unlike what we saw yesterday, but Paddon just left the door open for him, and Cooper Cutts was able to capitalise. And you know what that means? He's just going to extend that championship lead.
So he now takes over the lead of the round as well, does Cooper Cutts. So he's taken that off Chris Reinler with that move. So critically important for both the title and also the round results. And he's skipping off into the distance from Peter Paddon. We knew there was pace to burn in the 16. And now he's able to show it on the final lap of this race number 2. 7 wins. I should say there's been 8 races this season. 7 have been won between these 2 drivers. 5 have gone the way this season of Cooper Cutts. He's got 11 to his name in the radical category. So we watch now as this rapid drive up goes purple and purple on the last lap, showing just how much pace he has on board. First Focus Radical Cup Australia race number 2 goes to Cooper Cutts, with Peter Paddon coming home in second, and a time of 1:09.89 on the last lap. It wasn't a lap record, but it wasn't far off it from Cooper Cutts as Zig Fuhrmeister comes home to round out the podium. Chris Reinler back in 4th, Terry Knowles in 5th, and we'll keep an eye on that one because there was contact with Terry Knowles and Russell, I believe it was, on that first lap. Dave Allen in 6th, Claire in 7th, Jim Hernandez out of 13th, finishes 8th, Hadid, Medland, and we'll wait for Sue Hughes will be the 11th. So let's see the official results as they finished race number 2 for the First Focus Radical Cup Australia here at the Shannon Speed Series. Cooper Cutts, Peter Paddon, Zig Fuhrmeister are your podium. Chris Reinler, Terry Knowles, well, they round out the top 5. Dave Allen and Peter Clare in 6 and 7. Hernandez from the back of the grid to 8. Ibi Hadid in 9th. Bill Medlin and Sue Hughes, with Stephen Champion a lap down, and Bradley Russell a DNF, finishing in the pit lane and talking to our own Charlie Barlow. So let's look at the highlights from race number 2 for the First Focus Radical Cup Australia. And it was almost carbon copy of yesterday. A little bit more aggressive from Cooper Cutts, but that was that moment I referred to earlier when Russell was turned around down in turn number 1. Terry Knowles was in the vicinity, but we will see what they say. And some of the dive bombs early on were incredible. That was Dave Allen putting a big move on, and there was the 34 with floor damage, Stephen Champion, who finished a lap down, and we heard from Russell later, that is why he DNF'd. On our second restart, though, Peter Paddon ran a very different strategy, held them out, but Zig Fuhrmeister was the big mover, going around the outside of Chris Reinler. Then we talked about it, the setup move. It was coming from Cooper Cutts, as there were some other battles for position in there as well. And you called it, Thomas Randall. Turn 3 was the spot. He got more than alongside. He actually got in front before contact was made down there at turn 3. And that was the move of the race. That was the move for the race win. And Cooper Cutts took the checkered flag 1 lap later.
Well, there's a bit of payback, I think, from turn 1, lap 1, where Peter Paddon put that late dive bomb move on Cooper Cutts. Not sure there was as much contact there, but I'd say, yeah, a little bit of payback later on, and yeah, pretty exciting race. Cooper Cutts, I think, was very happy with that. You could see he was looking over and giving a wave to the crew, to the Arise Racing guys, and you know, he is coached by Andre Heimgartner, so I'm sure Andre's going to be wrapped with that one as well. And what a finish there, taking the fastest lap of the race. on the last lap. And
Gave him an extra point too, Thomas Randall. It was 111 points. It's now 112 points for the round, and that increases his lead. Remember, it was already 17 points. And so far, with Peter Paddon finishing in second, he only gets 54 points. So a massive swing continuing to go the way of Cooper Cutts. And that's his, I believe, 6th race win of the season.
I think that this rivalry will continue for a long time between Cutts and Paddon, won't it?
Yeah, it will. Let's go down and hear from our race winners with Charlie Barlow.
Cooper Cutts, your domination continues. Congratulations. A bit of redemption after the rain caught you out yesterday.
Yeah, not one of my finest moments yesterday. Got told on the radio just to bring it home, and then I didn't, so that was good. But no, it was a good race. I'm comfortably ahead now in the championship, so I don't have to take too many risks. But I just thought, why not give it a send at the end? So yeah, happy to get that one done.
It was a nail-biter, and that move for the lead in the final moments of that race. Talk us through that.
Yeah, well, this track is it's like quite hard to pass because you have to like set them up because there's not many corners. And then I just got a really good run on the last lap. To be honest, I was just going to like wait and then just bring it home in second because I didn't have to win. But yeah, I just got a really good run and then just parked it down the inside and got it done. So.
One more race ahead of you this afternoon. Anything you need to change, tune up yourself and the car?
Maybe just fix my starts. That's been a bit of a problem, but yeah, we'll just see what happens. There's a long time till that, so just see.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, let's head over to Peter Paddon. Disqualified yesterday due to a ride height issue. Gentlemen, excuse me, sorry. Peter, my goodness, we were screaming at the TV, hoping you could hold on. Talk us through that move.
Yeah, no, it was just a rookie error last lap. And I just ran out of brakes. That whole race had no brakes. And I looked in the mirror and I thought I had enough of a gap. But yeah, the brakes were that bad on that last lap that, I couldn't get it pulled up.
It was sensational TV to watch. Thank you for the entertainment. But
glad to entertain. That's what we're here for.
And of course, due to yesterday's disqualification, your title hopes might not be as clean cut as you would like.
Oh, look, it's never clean cut for a title, is it? There's always things that can go wrong. So it was amazing last season. We finished every race. So, it was about due for some bad luck.
Well, congratulations anyway. It's still a podium.
Thanks very much.
Okay, let's go over to Zig Fuhrmeister. Sir, very exciting time. I know you've battled really, really hard for that one. I'll just get you to stand around here so we can get your car in the back of the shot. It's always important. Ziggy, talk us through that race. That was a pearler.
Yeah, it's hard with calibre of that sort of nature behind you, pushing you all the time. And after race one, making a big mistake on the last lap on the second last corner, I'm pretty happy.
And a 50-minute race ahead of you this afternoon. Any changes, anything that you need to look forward to there?
No, nothing at all. Try hard. Thank you.
Oh, great. Congratulations. Sensational Radical Cup Australia race there. They've got another one this afternoon, but coming up very shortly, it is the GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. Be back after this short break.